Keep bringing it. Seen ghosts.
Doesn't that feel like a different lifetime? Sam Darnold and the Jets struggling? Well, not the Jets struggling part, that's still happening, but more the Sam Darnold part, right? In one season with the Vikings last year, he went 14-3. The Vikings thought the grass was greener, and they let him walk. Today, they are in their feelings, of course, on social media. The Seahawks capitalized with Sam Darnold, and in his first season in Seattle, he's now taking the Seahawks to the Super Bowl. They too won 14 games and were the 1 seed in the NFC. Now they will take that short flight to Santa Clara to face the Patriots, the team Sam Darnold said he was seeing ghosts against back when he was with the Jets. Here's what his new head coach, Mike Macdonald, had to say about his quarterback and his performance.
You know, you can't talk about the game without talking about our quarterback. I mean, he just shut a lot of people up tonight, so I'm really happy for him. Should go down as one of the best performances in playoff history, I'd imagine. I mean, it's hard to stack it, but I can't imagine anybody playing any better.
It does feel like one of those great comeback stories in the NFL. Just taking a little bit longer, right? Sam Darnold drafted in 2018 to the Jets. But now, as we talk about the narrative around Sam Darnold, Peter, do you think it's changed?
Yes. Yes, I think Mike Macdonald's absolutely right. That was one of the all-time great NFC Championship game performances. He looked the MVP of the league, or the most likely MVP of the league, Matthew Stafford, who was having a career game, looked him right in the eyes and went blow for blow, throw for throw, and outdueled him and played better when it mattered most and made the plays and won. What's so interesting about Sam Darnold, and you guys can appreciate this having covered him for all these years, like you want Baker Mayfield you sit with. Baker Mayfield has this giant chip on his shoulder, and he verbalizes it, and he'll tell you, like, I want to win, and I want to prove the Browns wrong, and I want to prove Stefanski wrong. Nick Foles, when he did his deal, like, it was, all right, the rest of the league dismissed me, but I have an opportunity now to write my... Darnold will not give you an inch of that. He doesn't want to talk about his story, and even yesterday in the postgame, Tom Rinaldi served it up on, like, a platter, like, hey, let's talk about your story. I'm just thinking about one game at a time, one opponent at a time. And he truly embodies that. He's done it the right way, in which he just internalizes it all, and he just looks right ahead and has tunnel vision and gets the job done. He's never doubted his ability. And for all of us on the outside who could say, well, it's because of the situation, or it's because of his previous situations, he doesn't even go into that level of analysis. He just knows, put me on the field. I have to be able to do it. My story is still unwritten, not written yet. The Vikings let him walk after having a 14-3 record. But to Stephen A's point earlier in the show, in 8 days, he had 2 of the worst performances ever in clutch moments. No one was shaking their fist saying, how could you let Sam Darnold out the building after the way he played at the end of the season last year? He totally rewrote his own narrative, and now he's going to the Super Bowl as one of the hottest quarterbacks in the NFL, having played one of the best NFC Championship games we've ever seen.
Yeah, I mean, the narrative, or what is the narrative, is really for the naysayers to answer, the people that have constantly doubted Sam Darnold. That would be the question that they have to answer. But I do think more interestingly is, what's the narrative around the quarterback role and position in the NFL, all-encompassing? I think that what Sam Darnold has proven, probably at the top of it right now, but certain players like a Baker Mayfield has been a part of, a Daniel Jones had a little bit of part of, a Geno Smith had a part of, is the amount of resiliency that you have to become a good quarterback in the NFL to great quarterback in the NFL. And how we measure it, or how we try to quantify it in comparison to the things that we can't touch, how big you are, how tall you are, how fast you are, all that stuff. And so the narrative, the way that we talk about quarterbacks, evaluate quarterbacks, scout quarterbacks, this has to be a little bit of a case study, maybe a one-off, but the toughness, the mental toughness that you have to have. I think the second part is that all these young quarterbacks that we so automatically cast off right away. C.J. Stroud's performance last week, and there's people saying maybe we trade C.J. Stroud. Or Anthony Richardson, like that's, if we haven't learned anything, it's whoa. Let's pause with like totally writing the obituary on some of these younger quarterbacks. And so I think the narrative of how we just view young quarterbacks, their journey, and how important it is to, okay, I failed. Don't quit on yourself. Go to the right place, Kyle Shanahan. Okay, then go to the right place in Minnesota. And then you got a Kevin O'Connell, you got an Andrew Janocko, their quarterback coach, and goes to Seattle. So I just think like the narrative around that position should be changed, not in totality, not with everyone, but certainly certain guys.
Okay. In walks Mr. Negative. If y'all think if Sam Darnold go out here and toss 3 interceptions in this Super Bowl and a team that is better than the other team that they're playing in the New England Patriots don't win and it's a low-scoring game and Sam Darnold doesn't play well, if y'all don't think folks going to come on here and say, I knew it, I knew he'd show up, yeah, he fixed it a little bit down the stretch, and they figured out ways to get him to play well against the Rams, you know what everybody's going to say? You've been watching the Rams. The Rams ain't been good on defense since week 16. The Rams gave it up to Atlanta. The Rams gave it up to Carolina. Of course, Sam Darnold was able to play well that day. They're going to say it. That same narrative is going to exist for the naysayers, that the people who on this show want to say those things about Sam Darnold. It ain't over, and I agree. When you listen to the players in Seattle, when you listen to Sam, it's not even something they think about.
Right.
Sam Darnold does not live in the past, and God bless him that he doesn't, because it's so smart to be focused on who you are now. The Seattle Seahawks act like they never watched him play a game before this. The players on the team don't even hear what is said about him. But believe you me,
I ask you a question, though.
if he goes out and doesn't play well, people are going to say it's still the same Sam Darnold.
But let me ask you this. Is that right? Like, is that right?
Bro,
you're probably accurate.
But here's the thing. There's so much that happens in what we do that's not right because it's opinion-based. It's what you feel. And you know this as well as anybody. You can be the most well-intentioned and still have a feeling or an emotion that makes you criticize the player in a negative way when you shouldn't. And Sam Darnold will be a part of that if he does not play well.
I think around the league, though, like last year when he ended that season with Minnesota, there was not a long line of teams saying, well, I want to give him $100 million. This year, I still think if he were to be a free agent, teams would be more interested than last year because of the way he's played the last few weeks.
Insert Stephen A. Smith. Go ahead, S.A.
Peter.
Yeah.
Peter. Peter. Move out the way. Move out the way this way. Yes, this way. Let me look at Dan Orlovsky right here. This is not about RC. It's about Dan Orlovsky. I need you to toughen up, bro. I need you to get some alligator skin and understand that as a sports commentator, this is what comes with it. Sam Darnold balled out again. The skepticism he kind of earned. First things first, let's understand as a member of the New York Jets in his first 3 years in the league, he had 45 touchdowns. He had 39 interceptions. It wasn't like we were devoid of ammunition to point to what he wasn't doing. RC accurately pointed out what Joe Douglas, the GM for the Jets at the time, brought to the table when he said, hey, he doesn't have the right pieces around him. So you're sitting here and you find the silver lining, and here's what I mean when I say toughen up, Dan. You're pointing out how maybe we don't need to write off these quarterbacks. Well, why don't you really say what it is? Maybe a whole bunch of organizations need to improve. Maybe we need to be having a discussion about head coaches, GMs, presidents, and owners who don't know what the hell they're doing. How about that? You understand? Because, again, they can sit up there and they can compromise how we're looking at quarterbacks. To just sit up there and say, well, you know what? We shouldn't write off these quarterbacks. Well, guess what? There's a whole bunch of them you can write off if they're playing for a sorry organization. That clearly isn't the case in Seattle with Schneider. It clearly isn't the case with McDonald, okay? When we look at we just finished talking about the Pittsburgh Steelers, and please put RC back up on here while I say this to him, because I want to know what he feels about this, and I want to know what Peter and Dio and Shea feel about this. When we bring up Mike McCarthy, right, what are we lamenting? We saw Baltimore go out there and get Minter. We saw McDonald, obviously, in Seattle and what he's doing. We saw Cohen in Jacksonville, okay? It ain't just about a retread like of Vrabel, who's going to be coach of the year and well-deserved. You know why Vrabel doesn't count in this discussion? Because Vrabel should have never been let go by Tennessee. We looked at that and we said organizationally, they don't know what the hell they're doing. They don't know what the hell is going on in Tennessee. God bless them moving forward. We hope they make the right selections. because there's a lot of things that they were doing that they were not doing right. But for the most part, when we look at a McCarthy in Pittsburgh and we're saying 62 years old, it's like, what is that? You're seeing a lot of organizations go in a different direction, get some new, fresh blood up in there that can galvanize folks, that can bring folks together, that can give you a reason to feel inspired, et cetera, et cetera. We're looking at Buffalo and we're hoping they do the same thing when it comes to Josh Allen, because we're saying now that Sam Darnold has gotten over the hump and got to a Super Bowl. Yo, Lamar Jackson. Yo, Josh Allen, what's up? By the way, let's not forget Dak Prescott. You could ball too. It's been 10 years, damn it. You understand what I'm saying? And the man already won more playoff games in this year than you have your entire career. We get to ask those things. I'm saying, Dan Orlovsky, that there are things to point to when you're looking at an organization from the coach upstairs to the GM, the president, and the owner himself that have appeared inept. And all you got to say is, let's not write off the quarterbacks. Nah, that ain't good enough. There are organizations who stink that have been ruining quarterbacks. Say that. That's what I'm saying. Say it, Dan Orlovsky. Say it with your chest. There's organizations that with leaders that don't deserve to be leading because they don't know what the hell they're doing. And they're the ones that got people like me and others believing that Sam Darnold don't have it. They're the ones that got us believing he can't get it done. They're the ones that got us believing, well, maybe, just maybe, the brother got skills, but he just don't have that it factor or whatever. Based on what Sam Darnold is doing, hell, maybe Baker Mayfield can get you to a Super Bowl. Maybe Dak Prescott will pull a miracle and he'll get you to a Super Bowl. Maybe Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen will finally get over the hump. We can look at it from that standpoint since something is clearly missing, and it ain't the quarterbacks according to you because they've got the talent. We just got to believe in them and put the right pieces around them and give them time. Wouldn't that require a good organization? I say yes.
100%, Stephen A. But me and a lot of people have said that for years. Most quarterbacks, young quarterbacks, are ruined more than they are made. It's the most dependent position in sports, and organizations, top to bottom, consistently miss that. It's not a talent thing, though. That's the narrative with the Sam thing. I think the biggest takeaway is the resiliency, the mental toughness. That has to be a trait that the young quarterback that you draft has to have to make it. Because if they don't, I don't care how physically gifted they are.
And I also think we're cherry picking, right? We're cherry picking the dudes that organizations gave up on that actually became good players. There's many more that have been drafted very high that organizations gave up on, and they were right for giving up on them for one or two reasons, right? One reason is this dude may not be that good. I may have made a mistake in my evaluation. And the second reason is he may not be good for us right now, which Joe Douglas admitted to. Joe Douglas admitted Sam Darnold is talented. Sam Darnold can play. In the future, Sam Darnold will win. It's just not with us right now. And that's okay as well. We can say that sometimes organizations are bad and don't develop quarterback. We can also say sometimes they draft people who aren't the right people for their organization.
I'm sitting here and I'm thinking about this conversation. Pete, I know you got to go. I know we got to go because we got some stuff to do. I'm very upset going back to the Pittsburgh Steelers, because I want to stay for the record, and I'm not joking about this. I'm dead serious. I believe that Ryan Clark should have been interviewed for the job. I mean it. I mean it. I believe that Ryan Clark, who I'm looking at right now, should have been interviewed for the job.
I wish I would have.
Phillip Rivers got interviewed.